257. I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us, and as mentioned, we hope that you continue watching us here and also that you visit our website, HoustonHispanicChamber.com. Today, our guest is Fire Chief Samuel Peña. He's going to talk to us a little bit about being Fire Chief and how he got started in this realm. As you know, our hope is to inspire and motivate those of you watching so that you can too achieve all of your goals. So Fire Chief, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Murillo. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. I know we've had you on other programs, and
Yes.
you've come on and talked about all the great work of the Houston Fire Department, but today we hope to get to know a little bit more about you and also hopefully to help others who are looking for careers, trying to get started, and understand that it's a lot of hard work. You don't just become Fire Chief of the fourth largest city in the country without some sacrifices and hard work. So first of all, you've been in Houston now, what, 18 months or so?
Year and 9 months, exactly.
Yes. So welcome to Houston.
Thank
with
you.
Hurricane Harvey and pension reform and so many other dynamic things that have been occurring here. Certainly, I'm sure, a little different than what you thought it would be your first year and a half or so.
Well,
in Houston.
absolutely. You know, Houston is a great city.
Yeah.
It's a very welcoming city. I describe it as a big small town.
Yeah.
You know, it has that feel.
Yes.
Because as many people as we have here in town, you know, the interactions with people they're very welcoming.
Yeah.
They're very accommodating.
Yeah.
You know, we've from the business community, from the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, again, really made me feel at home in these last 18 months.
Yes.
And certainly, yes, the scale is a little bit different. I come from El Paso.
Yeah.
Actually, was born in Los Angeles, California.
Okay.
And spent the first 6 years there until my parents decided to move out of California and move down
Texas.
to Texas, down to El Paso. So that's where I grew up, and that's you know, where my family is, and that's really when my wife thinks of home, that's
Home
where she thinks
is El Paso.
But no, we're glad to be here. You know, it's been a very active 18 months.
Yes.
You know, we had the Super Bowl when I first came here. Then Harvey paid a little visit.
Yes.
That was an incredible time. You know, the response of the community was amazing, and you know, couldn't be more proud to be part of that recovery process.
Yeah.
And then we had the world champion Astros.
Yes.
You know, and so now we're moving forward on some major initiatives and looking good.
Well, and clearly showed you the heart and soul of Houston during Harvey, and I think it fast-tracked your relationships and connectivity, and most definitely showed you that we take care of our own, and there was a surplus of volunteers, and just so many good things that you saw of this great large city, but in many ways the heart of a small town.
Absolutely. You know, it was really heartwarming and encouraging.
Yes.
You know, the grit and the perseverance of this community, and the humanity, the heart. You know, at the height of the storm, you saw people who were losing everything, still found time to help others in need, and that, I think, is who we are as a community, and that's why, you know, Houston has a special place in my heart.
Well, and even the first responders, their own families and homes were at risk, yet they were out there protecting and serving.
Absolutely. You know, I can't say enough about the Houston Fire Department. Certainly all first responders, police included, but the Houston firefighters were amazing.
Yes.
You know, we had over 300 firefighters who lost everything, you know, completely flooded out. Some of them are still trying to recover. But, you know, their sense of duty was showed, you know, in that they were out there at days at a time doing their work. So, yes.
Well, and also very nice to see the relationship between our mayor and the county judge, and both of them moving in the same direction, all communicating. We saw you there, you know, you guys spent nights and days and weeks making sure that our community understood what was happening, and what a benefit that you're bilingual, that our police chief is bilingual as well, to be able to communicate these messages. And for the first time in Houston-Harris County, we have a Latino fire chief, police chief, and a sheriff. And until recently, the superintendent of HISD was also Latino. So it really speaks to the changes, the demographic changes we're seeing in Houston, and that's going to continue to be the case. So a very proud time for Houstonians, for our community especially, to have you serving in this capacity. But you've paid your dues. You've gone to college, you've gone on to get a master's, and so you've worked very hard to get here. What does it feel like now? I mean, do you ever stop and think about, oh my goodness, I'm really the fire chief of Houston, Texas?
You know what? It's sometimes it's surreal. It's the fourth largest city in the country, fourth largest fire department in the country as well. Huge undertaking.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm proud that I was able to reach this level. And you're right. You know, 25 years ago when I got out of the Air Force, I served 4 years in the Air Force, and I got out and went back to El Paso, and that's where I started my career in the fire service. You know, I applied there, moved up through the ranks. I was appointed fire chief in El Paso in 2013 and served there for almost 4.5 years, or 3.5 years. And then this opportunity came up. And I can honestly say, Dr. Murillo, that you know, I was sitting in my office happy. You know, I had been there for, like I said, over 3 years, and things were in place. You know, and you get to the point where you get your pieces in the right place, and things, they don't run themselves, but it's a little bit more manageable. Right? And then this opportunity came up, and I thought, you know, knowing that I didn't go out and seek it, I said, well, you know, who am I to question God's will?
Right.
You know. So I took that step. The problems that and the issues that the Houston Fire Department was facing when I was applying were similar to what we had in El Paso, but certainly on a different scale.
Much larger.
Right, different scale.
And we'll be right back with the second segment here with our Fire Chief, Samuel Peña. And thanks for joining us on the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce program here on Q57. Very excited to have our guest, Samuel Peña, Fire Chief of the Houston area and also a great friend of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So before we went to break, we were talking about you sitting in your office and you got that call, and I always like to tell people, especially young people, take care of the job you have and the next one will find you.
Right.
And that sounds like exactly what happened in your case.
That is exactly what happened in my case. You know, I was, like I mentioned, you know, I had been, grew up in the fire department in El Paso. And then this opportunity came up. The headhunter called. He says, "Hey, we're casting a wide net. We want to know if you want to put your name in the hat."
Are you interested?
Yeah, and I thought, you know, it's always good to gauge yourself, especially when you feel that that your career is plateauing. You know, we got to be cautious about that, because you can't just maintain, right? If you're maintaining that, sometimes you're regressing, you're moving backwards. So it's always better to
challenge
yourself and to see, you know, are my ideas mainstream ideas, or
specific to El Paso?
Specific to
Will
El
I be
Paso?
able to transition?
Are they transferable, or are they?
And then moving your family to a big city like Houston,
that
when
was huge.
El Paso was your home.
That was the biggest decision, because you know, we are a traditional Hispanic family, very close knit. My mom, my dad, my grandson, my brothers and sisters, and you know, my sons are in El Paso. So that was the most difficult decision when I got the offer, was do I take it or do I not? But like I said, you know, I thought, why not? Why not? This opportunity presented itself for a reason.
And it's a once in a lifetime situation.
It is once in a lifetime situation. The issues that I had dealt with in El Paso were similar to the issues that were facing the Houston Fire Department. And I said, I believe I have something to offer the city of Houston and the Houston Fire Department to increase and better that department. And so that's why I took this opportunity. And you know, it's worked out really well. I think you know, my parents were a big influence in my ability to or my focus on preparing. You know, to take up, you know, advantage of certain opportunities that present themselves, and that's what I'm trying to do for this organization. You know, as the fire chief, it's my job to prepare the pipeline for people to take advantage of the positions. You know, because I'm a temporary steward of this position. But it's on me to ensure that there are qualified people and people are able to take advantage of the opportunity when it presents itself. And that's one of my focuses, professional development. You know, aside from the fleet and the facilities and the health and safety aspects.
To take care of the people, make sure there's someone to fill these roles. What are some of the key characteristics you think are needed to be in a leadership role within the fire department?
Well, you certainly need to have perseverance, right? Because there are a lot of challenges, internal and external challenges, that are working against you. You have to have some tenacity, right? and stay focused on the end goal, on the mission. Because certainly, you know, it's government, city government, so the wheels turn very slowly.
Yes.
And it's a lot different. When I first got appointed to fire chief, the approach was a lot different from when I was in the field in the fire department, because firefighters are programmed to arrive at an emergency scene, assess the situation,
yes,
come up with a plan,
and
go in there, execute, take care of the issue, and then reset.
Out.
Right?
Yes, and do it again.
Exactly. So they can immediately see the fruits of their efforts and their labor, you know, and the successes.
Yes.
When you become part of the administration, when you become the fire chief, you know, those successes take a little bit longer.
Yeah, so
right?
there's a short-term game and a long-term.
Exactly.
And different skill sets.
And different skill sets.
Yes.
Both communicating up the organization and down the organization,
Yes.
because your firefighters expect you to deliver on the things that they need.
Yes.
Right? And so you have to communicate with them as far as what you're doing, what your process is to get them the things they need.
And that it's different from what you would do internally.
Exactly.
It has to be handled very different externally, because
sometimes
you have council members and others that are all going to weigh in on budgets and decisions, and it's not a unilateral anything.
Exactly. Exactly. Sometimes the projects that you start one year won't come to fruition for 2-3 years. Yes, and that's difficult, you know, to communicate and keep people engaged and informed. But that's part of the fun of this position, right? Is the interactions.
Yeah. So you talked about the role of your parents and the influence they had. What did your parents do, or what do they do currently?
So, you know, I'm a one of 4 siblings.
What order?
I'm number 1. I'm the first. I'm the first of 4. And actually, there was 5 children in my family when I was growing up, because my cousin, she moved in with us, and she was like my sister. Exactly.
Was her name Nachita?
No, Nachita. No, Nachita was my cousin.
Okay.
But Christy was my cousin.
So she moved in with you.
She moved in with us, and
how nice.
She grew up with our family. So I'm the first of 4 of 2 immigrant parents. Okay. You know, who came to the U.S. in 1968 and settled in East Los Angeles.
And why did they go to El Paso? What was it about El Paso?
So, you know, my mom, in speaking to my mom, her thing was, you know, L.A. was really big and busy, and her focus was always to keep the kids out of trouble. Yeah. You know, and they had family in Juarez, Mexico, right across the border from El Paso, so they decided to move to El Paso when I was 6. And my dad was a auto mechanic, and my mom was you know, she would clean houses, and she would, you know, she would mostly stay home and raise the kids, and that was her job. And but she would take odd jobs, and that's how they raised us. You know, my mom speaks about being houseless for a little bit, not homeless, because she says it's the family that makes a home, right? Yeah. But I don't remember that, you know, and I don't remember the you know,
struggles
I don't.
Yeah, you were just a family,
and
they fed you and probably got you whatever you needed to get you where you are today.
And my mom was strong. I feared my mom more than my dad.
Your parents, I'm sure, are very proud. We're very proud of you, and especially knowing that you came from very humble beginnings and have worked hard. And so we want to thank our fire chief for joining us today, and also just to remind you to follow your dreams, work hard, and congratulations to your parents that they've set such a great example, and that they've lived to see their son become fire chief of the 4th largest city in America. Congratulations.
Proud to be here and proud of the work you're doing as well.
Thank you so much.